Hey there everyone, welcome back. We're taking a look at the 7th segment of play today from the finals match in the 2022 USBCs between Team Nickell and Team Spector. Spector holds a shaky 13 imp lead. They've been dropping off a bit in the past few segments. Let's see what the hands look like for today. So, taking a look at the scorecard here, Nickell has a big win. They pick up 23 imps. And at the end of the segment, they've actually taken the lead against the Spector team by 9 imps going into the final set. I think this is the first time Spector has ever been behind in this event, at least at the end of a segment. And taking a look at the scorecard, we see some pretty sizable swings on some of these deals. A few slam swings. I'm curious about board 39. Let's take a look at that hand. So, kind of late in the segment, it looks like at this time Spector's actually 14 imps ahead still, so maybe the players have a sense of that, and this board might have marked a turning point for Nickell in this segment. South in first seat, ever invulnerable, opens a diamond. Look at that distribution, 12 cards and 2 suits. I mean, I like this kind of bid, but it's definitely not everyone's choice. So I think a lot of people might preempt South's hand, some number of diamonds, 5 diamonds even. The point being that South has such a long and strong diamond suit that it's okay to miss a spade fit because we have very little defense. I mean, no aces. The singleton king of hearts is not a great defensive asset or offensive asset for that matter. And the long suits might make it sound like we're taking very few tricks on defense, in which case we could well want to sacrifice against whatever contract the opponents end up in. 4 hearts or 5 clubs, for example, or even 3 no trump. And in that case, we want to preempt as high as we can, as early as we can in the auction. So that would be a case for preempting the South hand, some number of diamonds. The alternative is if partner actually has the values on this deal, we want to have a constructive auction. We want to show a 2-suited hand with diamonds and spades. We want to find out exactly where our fits are, and maybe we can navigate into 3 no trump if that's the right spot. Seems a little unlikely. More likely we'll either find whether 4 spades or 5 diamonds or 6 spades or 6 diamonds could be the right contract. So keeping the auction low allows us to be constructive in our bidding and try and find the right spot, but preempting can lead to the opponents making a difficult guess if it's actually their hand. In first seat, you don't really have a lot of information about this. I like either choice. My personal preference would be to do what South did here, is to open a diamond. I like to make constructive bids, but let's see how it works out on this deal. West gets to show both majors by overcalling 2 diamonds. Aha. And this is probably both a positive and negative thing from South's perspective. We now realize that showing spades is not good for us, but with South bidding, our partner passing, and East jumping all the way to 4 hearts, we now don't want to bid 5 diamonds. So I like this pass by South that he's made. While it may have been sensible to open 5 diamonds with this kind of hand, I'm not sure that's the right level to preempt, but if we wanted to, that would be a reasonable choice. Once the opponents have conveyed the information about their hands, there's no value anymore in preempting, and we do have a lot of losers. I mean, the 5-card spade suit with West having spades over here, shown from the Michael's bid, the 2-diamond bid, really makes it sound like we don't want to be sacrificing against the opponent's contract, so South passes and the opponents have an uncontested auction for the remainder. West elects to bid 4 spades, key card, in hearts, and East shows 1 key card. Okay, so from West's perspective, we are missing a key card. 5 diamonds asks for the trump queen, 5 no trump shows the trump queen, and no kings, but apparently some extras. And it looks like from East's perspective, those extras a bit of extra distribution. The doubleton diamond could be useful. The singleton spade might be helpful in some scenarios. And West signs off in 6 hearts. Okay, so South makes an opening lead. He leads a top diamond honor. It's hard to imagine leading anything else. Declare gets to win the ace. And needs to do something about his spade losers in hand. He absolutely has a club to lose. There's nothing Declare can do about that. Is going to need the heart finesse to be working, but given the opening bid, it seems fairly likely that's going to be the case. So Declare does take a heart finesse, which holds, and then tries the ace of clubs before pulling trumps. So his idea is that he's hoping if clubs split in a reasonable manner, he's going to use the jack 10 of hearts and dummy to rough the clubs good, and then cross back to the 4 of hearts later to cash his winners to discard some of his spade losers. But he gets the bad news when South discards on this trick. Nonetheless, he continues a club. North wins and returns a heart. And now Declare has to figure out what he's going to do about the spade losers, because he can't afford to continue trying to set up clubs. That's not going to provide enough tricks for himself. So he goes after spades. Jack of spades gets covered to the ace. King of spades is cashed. And Declare probably led another spade, found out that the suit was actually 5-2. Little did he know that the suit was going to be 5-2 with South having the 5-card spade suit. But he can cross-rough 5 more tricks. Unfortunately, he's only 6 tricks in, and that's going to be the remainder of the tricks for his hand. So 1 down. Overall, it's not a terrible contract, even from a single dummy perspective, given that South has opened the bidding. We can expect the King of Hearts to be on side, in which case Declare really just needed either spades or clubs to provide some extra tricks for himself. And I would say the Spector team got a little unlucky on this one. Unfortunately, they bid to a pretty good contract, at least given the opening 1 diamond bid from South, and everything just split really poorly for them. And there was no way for them to know based on the auction. I mean, South could have had a more normal balanced 11 or 12 count for his 1 diamond opener. So let's see what happened at the other table. At both tables, South opened this hand of diamond. I really like this choice. So it kind of goes to show that both of these teams prefer a more constructive approach to these kinds of hands than a preemptive approach, at least in first seat. West once again bid 2 diamonds, showing the majors. And at this table, East elected to bid 2 no trump, showing an invitational or better hand with hearts. I would say from East's perspective, so we don't know if the Spector team had this sort of tool available to them in the other room. Maybe they were forced to jump to 4 hearts, but the advantage of having this kind of 2 no trump bid, and why East might have chose it on this hand, is that with South opening and North passing, it feels like the opponents have stopped the auction from their side. So we might be able to have a constructive auction our way for East-West. Therefore, 2 no trump might allow West to describe the strength of his hand or the shape of his hand better, and that will help us place the contract. Or maybe East just elected to say that his hand was actually not game forcing and wasn't going to bid 4 hearts. It's hard to imagine that with a good 4-card heart suit, good distribution, an ace. So I do suspect that East was trying to just get more information from his partner, but On this hand, South was not done bidding, so he bid 3 diamonds. He has a diamond suit. And West bid 4 diamonds to show just a strong hand, extra values, probably good support for hearts. I would imagine that a 4 club bid from West here probably would have suggested a side suit of some sort. I mean 5-5-3, with a diamond void. That would be my guess. So West's only forward-going bid to show his hand naturally would be 4 diamonds. And North, having heard his partner's 1 diamond followed by 3 diamonds bid, realizes they have a diamond fit, and he has no defense whatsoever. And it does really sound like South's 3 diamond bid is suggesting a sacrifice, at these colors at least. Because otherwise, why would South want to do something that doesn't really preempt the opponent's auction all that much? Yeah, it does take away a 3 club and 3 diamond bid from West, but they were already forced up to the 3 heart level, so the 3 diamond bid from South really does sound to me like it is suggesting a sacrifice. And there's both positives and negatives for South hands that kind of argue for this. One, South has incredible distribution, but more negatively, South's spade suit is terrible when West has showed a 5-card spade suit in this auction. So all in all, it's a questionable decision of whether or not South should be bidding 3 diamonds. And North kind of took that to heart when he bid 5 diamonds. I mean, this is not a great hand, 3 small hearts, 2 small spades, and the opponent's 2 suits is not great. King, Queen, 5th of clubs is good. 3 small diamonds is probably worthwhile. Partner should have 6 or 7 of them over there for his 3 diamond bid. I think North was hoping that South was short in hearts, which he is, and had a club fit for him. That would make it so that North-South are only losing 2 spades, maybe the ace of clubs, maybe a heart, and hopefully no diamonds, and that would be 2 down minus 500. Also, the 5 diamond bid could push the opponents to a 5 heart contract, which doesn't actually make. So for a lot of reasons, North's hand kind of suggests a sacrifice if South was offering that with his 3 diamond bid. East doubles to say that he's not interested in bidding higher, and that ends the auction. So let's see what West does. West starts with the king of spades. Pretty natural opening lead. Ace from ace king, of course, makes a lot of sense. We don't want to lead the ace of hearts and find out Declare has king doubleton. And partner drops the jack on this trick. Now, from West's perspective, this might be based on a spade fit with both the jack and 10. So West does continue with the ace of spades and finds out, I guess you could say, both the good and bad news, which is that Declare has 5-card spade suit, which means we've just set that up for him, but at least partner's going to be able to overruff a spade. So we put a spade through. Dummy's diamonds are not high enough to prevent any sort of overruff, unfortunately for Declare, so East gets to ruff. Plays back a heart, and the 4 of hearts is asking for, I assume West not to return a spade, but it feels like he probably will anyway. Or maybe they play upside down suit preference in this scenario. Another spade goes through. The ace of diamonds roughs just in case West has like the king of diamonds remaining or queen doubleton, then we can promote an extra trump trick. A club comes through, but Declare is able to ruff high, pull the last trump, and claim the rest for 8 tricks, 3 down, minus 800, but coupled with the failed slam in the other room, this was a big swing for the Nickell team. Moving forward in the match, so that's kind of one of their big swings that they had in this segment. We do see a game decision on board 36. I'm wondering if I should take a look at that one, or maybe the slam on board 41 towards the end of the segment. Yeah, let's take a look at board 36. So in the open room, We have North opening a diamond. Good 12 count, or a reasonable 12 count, 5, 4, 2, 2. The Queen Doubleton of clubs not necessarily playing, but 5-card suit. East having 18 with an excellent diamond stopper, multiple in fact, elects to overcall a no trump. Probably the only reasonable bid from East perspective. The hand's not quite good enough to double and bid no trump, even though it's a relatively good 18 count. The fact that our 5-card suit is opener suit is a pretty big negative. As we've seen when we have a long suit that the opponents have shown, it doesn't necessarily provide all that many tricks. South doubles one no trump, which I wonder what the double shows. I mean, most people would play this as a penalty double, but also most people would expect this to show about 10 high card points, because a partner can be opening a little light. I mean, it's 12 over here, so we don't know if this north-south pair necessarily opens a lot of 11 or 10 counts, but with only 8 ups at 12, the opponents can still have half the high card points here, and we have no reason to expect that one no trump is going down based on our hand. We don't have a good suit that we can set up, partner open diamonds, which 10-9 third is probably okay, but is not necessarily the greatest of support. Our 4-card suit could easily be declared side suit. So yeah, the double seems a little strange to me, but maybe South just felt like if he didn't bid now, he was never going to be able to express his values on this hand, and I kind of agree with that. But I may have passed instead. West comes in with 2 spades, natural, non-forcing, and that passes out. So I guess I would say that West probably did the best he could on the auction. You know, South made a penalty double, at least it looks like that to me, and West was just trying to escape. He probably expected his partner to have closer to the 15 high card point range for his one no trump overcall. And East, yeah, found out that his partner had a spade suit, which gives them a spade fit, but given the penalty double, he may have been scared that his jack third of clubs was going to provide 0 tricks on offense and 3 defensive tricks for the opponents, and that his king of hearts was not going to be well positioned. And of course, his partner isn't guaranteed to have a 6-card spade suit headed by the queen. He could have 5 spades to the 8, for example. So yeah, maybe a little conservative by East, not trying for game by raising to 3 spades. But he could have been scared off by the double from South. So, given that, North on opening lead elects to try the Queen of Hearts. And this is one of those rare circumstances where maybe it does make sense to lead away from an ace when you're holding all of the honors in the suit and the player on your left is the only one who can have the king for the auction, I mean, for the most part at least, among the opponents, then it's a little safer to lead away from the ace, because in this scenario, you know you're not leading into the King of Hearts. And if you get a little lucky, maybe your Queen of Hearts will just win trick 1. Like if East held King third of Hearts, opposite 10 third, Declarer would surely duck this trick to hopefully freeze the heart suit. That would mean that North couldn't lead another heart away from the jack without giving up a trick. And then Declarer would be able to discard his heart losers later. But in this scenario, we see that West has no reason not to cover and is probably very surprised when the King of Hearts holds. Declarer is now able to discard 2 heart losers on the Ace King of Diamonds, and goes after the club suit for the ability to rough a club in the dummy. He probably expects that if anyone's short in clubs, it will be North. Therefore, he won't need to risk losing 3 rounds of clubs to North, another club coming through, and then having to guess about whether or not to hop up with the Ace King of Spades or rough small. So the king of clubs wins the trick in south. A heart is led toward north's hand. Another club is led. The queen holds. Diamond comes through, and Declarer is now able to set up his last club. Club to the jack. Club comes back, ruffed. Declarer elects to just cross-ruff this hand all the way. He doesn't know about the distribution of the spade suit, but this was a fairly safe way to play for 10 tricks. And let's take a look at the other table. So at this table, North opens a diamond. Same thing that we had in the open room. East, once again, overcalls a no trump, probably the only reasonable action. And here, I like this a lot better. South elected to pass. I just don't think that 8 high card points is enough to suggest a penalty double. We could get in some real trouble if we double with this hand and West redoubles for more penalty, for example. It's going to be very hard for us to find a suit to run to, especially given that East is probably very well prepared to double a 2-diamond run out. So West makes a transfer to spades, and in this room, East does show some extras with a 3-spade bid. I think a lot of people might expect this 3-spade bid to show 4-card spade support, but with all of these extra aces and kings, this is just a super maximum. Ace-king third of spades is a great trump holding, even opposite 5 small. It's hard to picture a hand where, with reasonable distribution, we're going to be going down in 3 spades. I mean, even if partner's 5-3-3-2 with a complete Yarborough hand over there, we still have some chances to make 3 spades. So we definitely do want to suggest a little extras from East perspective. Again, this is kind of the difference between South's takeout or penalty double from the other room. I suspect East was a little scared off over there, whereas in this room, East-West still expect that this is their hand, and so East feels more free at jumping to the 3 level. And West with an extra trump, a diamond void, so decent distribution, despite having only 2 high card points, of course decides to push for the vulnerable game. Now, we need to figure out how the defense does. So, South leads the king of clubs, and for the defense, if they can manage, they can take 3 clubs, or 2 clubs and a club ruff, and the ace of hearts. That would be 4 tricks, and would defeat the contract. So let's just see what they actually managed to do. The king of clubs gets led, and North has to play the deuce. He doesn't know what exactly his partner's club holding is, but if he plays the queen, he's going to be promising his partner the jack. So the deuce is the only thing he can do. I think this pair plays upside down signals, so this should indicate maybe a doubleton club. Let's see what South does. He continues with the club ace, which goes to the queen, and Declarer follows with the 3. Oh no. So I think there's a negative inference here, which is that on trick 1, so stepping all the way back to the beginning of the deal, when South leads the king of clubs, if North held queen, jack, deuce of clubs, so we have to visualize from South's perspective, is there any way I can like make South the... here we go, okay, great. So I figured out how to make South, or to see this from South's perspective. So we lead the king of clubs, and we can see that there are 5 clubs missing when dummy turns up with 4 of them, and the club honors missing are the queen and jack. Partner plays the 2 on this trick and Declare the 7. So if partner had both the queen and jack of clubs, we would have expected him to play the queen here. That would tell us that we could lead a low club away from our ace to our partner's jack. So when North doesn't do that, we should expect that North doesn't have both the queen and jack of clubs. Now South leads the ace of clubs and sees the queen from his partner. And East does not play the jack on this trick. So at this point, we need to step back and ask ourselves, was it possible that North started with the Queen, Jack, Deuce of clubs at the beginning of this hand? And I think the answer should be no, that we would expect our partner, given this dummy, since from our perspective, partner could equally as well lead hearts as we could, since dummy has 3 small cards in the suit, or 3 to the 10, partner really should have been playing the Queen of clubs if he held both the Queen and Jack. Therefore, partner should have no more clubs, and we can give partner club ruff. Now, with that said, maybe giving partner club ruff is not necessarily the best defense. So I'm not suggesting that South absolutely made a blunder here by leading heart, or switching to hearts. But I think South should expect that Declare has the Jack of clubs remaining, and we can give partner club ruff at this point. So that's kind of what I wanted to point out from this perspective. Now, from South's perspective, we can go on further and take a look. And the reason he went after hearts is if his partner has something like the ace of spades, maybe even the singleton ace of spades, then giving partner club ruff is not going to help our cause, and we might want to set up our heart trick prior to partner losing his ace of spades card. Because if we lead a club, the 10 of clubs will be a winner in dummy, and Declare can then pull trumps and use the 10 of clubs to discard maybe a heart loser. It's possible. So setting up our heart trick, if partner has, say, the king, queen of hearts, king, queen, fourth specifically, and the ace of spades, is very important. So South had a difficult choice at this point, but he elected to, after cashing 2 rounds of clubs and finding out, well, both the good and bad news in the club suit, he tried to set up his partner's heart trick. Unfortunately, that did not work on this deal, and he may well have been influenced by this 3 spade bid from East, which, like I mentioned, a lot of people would assume this promises a 4-card suit in support. And in this one rare circumstance, East just had such a good hand that he felt obligated to do it with only 3-card support. So, after a heart to the ace, Declare is kind of out of the woods. He is no longer going to suffer from club ruff, and he can safely pull trumps when he gets in. Heart goes back to the king, Declare pulls trumps, and claims his 10 tricks. Yeah, so this deal very easily could have gone the other direction here. Both defenders, or the defense at both tables, actually happened to lose a trick. One based on the opening lead. The Queen of Hearts lead just didn't quite work out when Declare was able to hop up with the king and avoid a loser in that suit entirely by discarding his losers on the ace, king of diamonds. And at the other table, South had just a very difficult guess when he won his 2nd round of clubs and he guessed wrong. So that is 23 imps to the Nickell team. And like I said, they were down, oh, I don't remember. Let's see, if we click on this board, is it going to tell us what happened? So Nickell was ahead 7 going into this board, and they picked up 3 more. So they now have a 10-imp lead going into the last segment of play. Well, we all already know, no spoilers, or spoiler alert if you're here and haven't realized, but Spector does come back and take victory in the 8th segment, but I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting one. Join me again tomorrow as we take a look at some hands from that segment of play and the final episode of this series. See you then.